a very heavy right foot.
Paige, why don't you check with them?
Hello.
Hey, Ryan.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am great.
Thanks for joining us today. We're so excited. We've got our whole group on here and some other agents and people in our area. And in case anyone doesn't know Ryan, which would be surprising unless you live under a rock, because he's the big star in our field, and he's the star of the $1 Million Listing New York. And #1 in real estate sales the last 2 years in a row for $1 billion in sale. That's impressive. $1 billion a year. And his new Bravo show that you're recording, right? And you opened a new brokerage recently. And
Yeah.
This book, his second book out, Big Money Energy. I was just telling everyone this is my favorite new book. It was so awesome. I watched you on the show, and you somehow put that energy into this book. It was amazing. I felt like you were sitting in front of me telling me the stories. I was laughing out loud. And
I was.
Funny people are my favorite. So it was absolutely awesome. So I'm really excited to talk to you about it.
Thank you. Where are we right now? Where are you based?
We're in Springfield, Missouri.
Springfield, Missouri. That's cool.
Yeah.
That
So
is-
tell us, how do you do it all? I mean, that's just so much. How do you do everything?
I don't know, but I'm gonna grow a mustache like this guy Eric Ferris here.
Yeah.
In that photo, and then that's how I'm gonna do it all. I think that's what I've been missing, is that mustache.
It would be impressive.
Listen, I didn't come to New York City to do real estate. I never wanted to be a real estate agent, right? Like growing up, I wasn't like fireman, police officer, licensed associate realtor. Like that wasn't the choice that I was thinking about. I came to the city to do theater. I had saved up for 2 years. And I was going to give it my absolute best shot, because I'd always rather regret the things I did than the things I never tried. I'd rather make a fool of myself than not have the opportunity, right? Because what's the worst that can happen? Like someone says no, you embarrass yourself. Who cares? No one's going to care. Like life goes on. And then I ran out of money, and I didn't want to move home in 2008. So I got into real estate because a friend told me to, so I could pay my bills, because he said it's exactly like acting. He said it is memorizing information. It's memorized information about the blocks, the buildings, the people who live there. All you got to do is memorize. And I'd spent at that 23 years learning to memorize at that point. And then he said, it's just improv. Meet people, get to know them. And he said, people hate being sold, but they love shopping with friends. And he said, your job is to just make friends. That's it. And then help them, talk to them, pick apartments that they would have picked anyway. Only later in my career did I start creating markets for myself and getting people to buy things they definitely don't want or need. But early on, it was rentals in New York City. And I just became addicted to the game. Like, spending 2 years in New York City trying to be an actor, okay? Like you learn really, really quickly what people are like, and you learn very quickly how to get over rejection, right? Because you would get rejected 5 times a day to your face because of your face. In real estate, if someone didn't want an apartment, like it wasn't because of my nose, like it wasn't because of my voice, at least I don't think so. So I never really took it personally. I would only take it personally because I needed the money. Right. And so I just kept pushing forward, moving forward. And I honestly felt that I was the best, and that anyone that didn't want to work with me was missing out. And I just believed that. And then I just wanted to do more, right? I just wanted to do more. Real estate is really my tree, right? It's the oak tree. And then everything else is the branch, but everything comes back to the sales. Everything we do influences the sales. The TV, the books, the course, the speaking, the social, all of that stuff, it all influences real estate sales. And then I have great people, great team around me who I really, really charge to do as much as possible. And you'd be surprised how uninvolved I am in a lot of things.
Right.
My main focus is brand all day, every day.
Well, in your new book, you wrote 16 codes. Can you
Yeah.
share with the group here a little bit about the codes and why they're important for your business and really everything you do?
Yeah, sure. So I wrote this book, and we could talk about anything. I thank you for talking about the book, but I'm
I
an open
love
book.
the book.
I'm an open book, no pun intended. You could ask me. We could talk about real estate. You could talk about whatever.
Mhm.
We could talk about life, the show. I am all yours. But I wrote the book during quarantine. I was not intending to write it, except I'm kind of a lunatic, and I really like to work. I think that's like my number one skill set is I really, really, really like working. And I thank my dad for putting that in me. Sometimes I wish I didn't like to work so much because I'm sure there's other things I could do. But quarantine happened and I wasn't allowed to film and we weren't allowed to show apartments and we were locked inside. And in New York, it was the real deal. Like this wasn't like my biological dad and stepmom are in Dallas. Like they sort of had quarantine in Texas, but like we had police on the streets, right? If you went outside, it was not good. And so I had all this time. So in between trying to save all of our dying deals, I built the new brokerage with my team through Zoom. And I wrote the book to help people understand that even in the absolute worst of times, you have the ability to be whoever you want to be whenever you're ready. Meaning that you do not have to wait 10 years to get that experience that she has to feel comfortable to walk into that room and own it. You can make the determination to be that person that you want to be, future you, right now, and start being that person today. You're not going to have 10 years of experience. That's fine. Right? You're not going to know everything that other person knows, and that's fine. You don't need to.
Right.
But once you figure out how to control your energy, you can figure out how to take back control of your life. And that was a real light bulb moment for me in 2009 when I saw all these other real estate agents crushing it, doing deals left and right, and I couldn't do a deal to save my life. And it wasn't just because I wasn't from New York. It was because I didn't believe in myself enough. And so my lack of belief in myself resonated out of me as a lack of confidence to everybody else. That ended up, without me even thinking about it, ended up being my reputation. Like that guy, he's okay. Not that confident, right? He's okay. Other people I could use. And that was something I had to fix really, really quick. And so the codes, to answer your question, or as I was writing it, were kind of these 16 codes of confidence, if you will. I call them big money energy codes, but they're the 16 codes of confidence that kind of span the gamut and the range of things that you want to keep in mind if you want to start leading your life in a way that you can control it. So like code number 1 is when you can't change your circumstances, there's one thing you can change: your energy. Like I couldn't change the fact that I lived in a 300 square foot apartment in Koreatown. Like I couldn't change the fact that I started going gray when I was 16. Like that didn't help me in high school. I could dye my hair, sure, but that's expensive, right? You can take control of your energy and you can do whatever you want. You can be whoever you want. And big money energy is all about deciding who you want to be and saying the words, why not me? If you can confidently say, why not me? You can do absolutely anything. Like for example, if you Google Wall Street Journal, Ryan Serhant, there's an article that was written yesterday. Okay? I met a guy randomly in New York City 2 weeks ago, who wanted to rent an apartment. And then he changed his mind and decided he wanted to buy in Palm Beach. And he said, do you do Palm Beach? I don't do Palm Beach. Okay.
Yeah.
But I said, yes, I do. Of course I do. Palm Beach. Yeah, I got people there. Let's go. Let's do it. Last Friday, he went to contract for the most expensive house ever sold in the state of Florida, and it'll be the second most expensive home ever sold in the United States. We close on Thursday. Okay, he paid just under $140 million for a house in Palm Beach. While, and I don't know if you follow me on social, okay? If you follow me on social over the past month, and if you don't, please do. Go back and look at it. I had my book taped to my hand. I had a book taped to my hand that said Big Money Energy on it. I didn't even know this guy. And I met him. Like, the power of positive thinking, the power of being able to control your energy to change your life. Like, it's just like, I don't know, I just believe in it so much. And I'm a walking example of how possible it is. Because big money energy is also big magnetic energy, right? How do you attract success? How do you attract people who are successful? And there's a lot of other codes, but
I bet that referral agent is like your new best friend. I bet they love you.
Yeah, I cut a pretty good deal on my behalf with him.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
Yeah.
So you working in New York when this pandemic hit, how did you find, I know it was a choice that you made to start your brokerage and, to keep the sales going. And like I said, I read the book, so I know that was a difficult time. How did you find the energy around that? How, I read that lost $72 million in contracts in one day. And how did you keep your mindset going? And how did you, I know it's something we worked with every day with our agents here, having them stay in touch with their clients. And then, as a leader of a team, I had to stay in touch with my agents. What did you do that helped you just recover from that really quickly?
So the exact same. I was making personal phone calls, texts, emails to every agent and client I had all day long. A significant amount of work, but I really, really, really rested on routine. Right. I think when you break routine, you're in trouble. So even though I was in New Hampshire, in the woods, in the snow, I still woke up at the same time. I still worked out at the same time. It totally sucked. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, everything's good. No, it sucked. You know how cold it is in New Hampshire in March? It's awful. Freezing. And I still started my day at the same time. I still went to the office at the same time, except my office was like the other kitchen table. I still had all my meetings. I just did them over Zoom, and I kept my routine. And I worked every day till 5 or 6 p.m. I just didn't have to do a dinner event or anything. And the bonus time I had, I worked on the book and building the company. But with all of my agents, I said, you know what? This is an amazing time to connect with people in a way that you will never get the chance to again. Because guess what? Everyone is stuck on their phone. Not a single person, they're lying to you if they're not. They are all sitting at home and they're on their phone. You can reach out to every single person you want to right now, and they're going to pick up or respond in some way, because no one is going to say, sorry, I had a busy day. No, you didn't. Nuh-uh. It's illegal to have busy days now. You are at home. And so we started this thing called the 3-5 rule, which every day, and if you can do more, great, except sometimes it takes a little while, you reach out to 15 people that you otherwise wouldn't have reached out to. Okay? You don't have to be overly calculated. Every day you reach out to 15 people in 3 groups of 5. So 5 people you're going to email, 5 you're going to call, 5 you're going to text. The next day, 5 you're going to DM, 5 you'll send letters to, 5 you'll call, whatever works for you. Okay, switch it up. And you will be surprised at the connections you can make just by reaching out to people you otherwise wouldn't have touched base with. They could be 5th grade friends, the mom of that person who did this. They could be a client you haven't talked to in 4 years. You should have, but you forgot. It could be an attorney, a banker, anybody, doesn't matter. And just say, how you doing? Just want to touch base, see how you're doing. Don't ask for anything. Just give. How you doing? Anything I can do for you? And talk, ask. Eventually they're going to be the ones who ask you about real estate, right? Because then they're going to need to ask you something. And then you'll start to get their juices flowing about who they know, are they looking to move and all that. I'm telling you, like, the number one prospecting thing we've done in the last 12 months has been the 3-5 rule. I don't spend money on anything anymore. Nothing is nearly as valuable as the 3-5s. It's crazy. Like, I wish I'd been doing it forever. And it doesn't take nearly that much time as you think.
Well, you have so many opportunities that come to you. I know you're such a big thinker and you're in so many different areas. How do you sift through that? How do you know what you want? And how do you decide when to implement that? Just like opening your brokerage and everything else you do.
Yeah, I set goals for myself, whether they're right or wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and then I don't negotiate with them. I can change, I can pivot. There's no dead end for me ever, right? There's no brick wall. There's only speed bumps and alternate paths. Like I came to New York to do theater, which was my be all end all. I told my parents, it's like, screw you guys, this is what I'm doing. It was like a big fight. It was a whole thing. They laugh about it now. But like when that ended and I knew I couldn't do it anymore, I just made the decision to choose success first. So I think everyone needs to have an idea of where you want to go, right? Because we're all running a race every day. Some people just got the opportunity to get on that track before you. Some people are running different races. That's totally okay as well. But we are running a race, and there is a way to win if you want to. Right? You don't have to, and not everyone needs to. But if you want to do better, decide who you want to be in 2 years. Okay. You can go further out than that. For me, all I think about right now is Ryan 2030. 2030, because I'm going to be there before I know it. Time goes by way too fast. It was 2010 yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I think about. But for anybody else, I would say focus on 2 years out, because that gives you 1 year to plan, 1 year to execute, and decide and write it down in a place where you are going to see it every day. Right? Maybe it's a whiteboard you put on your dresser. Maybe you write it on the inside of your bathroom mirror. Maybe it's on your computer screen. It's the background. Just force yourself to think about it every day, and decide what that can be. And it can be work and personal related. Maybe it's your weight. Maybe it's love life. Maybe it's money. Right? A lot of times it can be how much money you want to make, how much money you want to save. You want to be able to save enough to go on this vacation. You want to be able to have this many listings. You want to be in the $1 million price bracket. Whatever it is. Write those down and then don't negotiate with them. I mean, there's a lot of other steps that go into it, but then from there, you then break it out into kind of micro tasks. So then what do you do every single day to get to those goals? Like, what are you going to do? Right? Like for me, we have very, very large sales goals.
Mm-hmm.
And I make them incredibly stressful. And then I got to figure it out. How am I going to get there? So I break it down by quarter, and then by month, and then by week. So how much do we need to sell every single month to make sure that I hit my goals? And then by default, I know we'll hit income goals, because if I can hit our sales goal, I know we'll hit somewhere in the range of our income goal. And consistently say yes to opportunity, right? And I think it's okay to scare yourself a little bit. You got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You got to be comfortable moving out of your parents' house. Like, it's time. You got to be comfortable, like going and getting that extra bedroom apartment. Like, it's okay. You're going to figure it out. I was terrified when I bought my first apartment. Insane. My parents told me not to do it. It was way too expensive. And it really freaked me out. But I knew that if I backed myself into that corner, I would figure it out. And I did. Now I look at that apartment and I'm like, that wasn't so bad. Because now I'm renovating an 8,000 square foot house. That really freaks me out. It's incredibly overwhelming.
You like to be at that place where you're kind of freaking yourself out and
yeah, I need to be pushed.
Yeah.
Right. Like when I was in college, I had a theater professor. Her name was Carol, who was super mean. People hated her. As did I sometimes. She was really mean, but she had the ability to push you to the point where you would get to a level that you didn't know possible, right? Like you didn't think that you could cry on command. She would push you to the point where all of a sudden you'd be crying and you wouldn't even know it. And what was amazing about it was, holy shit, why do I need somebody else to push me to a level I can get to by myself? Like, why do I need that? And once you understand how to unlock that power from within you, which is just energy, like life takes new meaning, right? anything is possible.
Yeah, you really reinvented yourself from the time you started real estate to now. And it just seemed like it was just a mindset. You decided who you wanted to be and you figured it out and you just keep building on that. Where do you find that? Where do you find your growth? Do you read a lot? Do you have mentors? I mean, does that come from, or is that just internal with you?
I don't have mentors. I wish I did. Probably would have made things easier. I credit my dad for a lot, you know. We were very regimented, super disciplined growing up, which was awful and sucked. I really, really thank him for it now, but it was terrible when you're growing up and you can't do things that your friends can do. I don't know. I think that why not me? Like I am overly obsessed with how short life is. And 2020 really made that clear to me more than ever before, right? Because every single person in my office lost somebody in some way. It was a grandparent, a friend, an attorney, like somebody. It was insane last year. And it's like, wow, like you really realize how fragile and short life is. So why not take the absolute most advantage of it as you possibly can? Like why? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand how people don't do the absolute best for themselves. Like, you know, whether it comes down to how much they eat or how much they work, like anything is possible if you want it. And if you don't want it enough, then don't complain. Like you have no right to complain. So for me, I want the absolute most. I made a determination that when I got into real estate, once I actually decided to stick with it, said, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to be the absolute best. I'm not going to let anyone else put me down. And a lot of brokers in New York are very mean. And so I just said, I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm not from here. I don't know anybody here. I didn't go to the schools here. I'm going to figure out how to sell more than anybody else. And that's what I did. And it's just like, it's possible, right? Anything is possible. It's just like, I don't know. I don't know how better to describe it other than I have a drive to succeed that is just relentless. And I will do anything to make sure that I don't go back to where I was in 2008, which was nervous about money. And at a point where I would walk down the street staring at the ground, right? So
what do you predict for the future with real estate? I mean, looking at this year.
Awesomeness.
Yeah.
Greatness.
Looks like it's going to be great. I want to open up if anyone has questions that you want to ask Ryan. Does anyone have?
Your market's great.
Our market's great. Yeah.
You guys, everywhere else in the United States has no inventory and like 20 bids on everything.
Well,
New York City has 10,000 apartments on the market. Okay. The average days on market here is 400.
What?
Yeah. Don't believe what you see on TV.
Wow.
Like, New York is the most oversaturated market in the world. It is like the deals we do now, all I've done for 5 years actually is negotiate loss. You know, the deals are still big. That's why it's good to be a broker.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is brutal. I don't even know what it's like to have a market like you do.
So we're a smaller market, obviously, and we do have multiple offer situations, but we have no inventory. What do you suggest for all of these people that are, of course, everybody's on the phone, they're calling, they're doing all the tasks, but there's no inventory. It's really tough.
Yeah. I would rob people, probably. Steal their homes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I'm a professional prospector. Even now, a good chunk of my day, I send cold emails all day. It's like, have you ever heard of like circle marketing?
Yeah. Circle prospecting. We do that too.
Yeah. So like, I got my clients in the middle, right? But I go to all their people. I don't have time to build 15 years worth of trust with the client I want, but I know how to build trust with this person, this person, this person, this person, this person really, really quickly so that they'll refer me to this person that they built that 15 years of trust with. And so I spend a lot of time reaching out to people like that, cold emails every day, just introducing myself. Like if you're not waking up every day and introducing yourself to random bankers, landscapers, interior designers, people in the moms groups. If you're not starting Facebook groups for interest groups that you have that might not exist yet on Facebook in your community, like there are so many things that you can be doing to create relationships that'll turn into listings. I'm a big gifter, right? Like if I was in a market that had houses with front doors, like the amount of things that I would do, you have no idea. I can't go knock on people's doors or like leave people gifts or like chocolate on their doorsteps. I would get shot here. Like I would go to jail. I can't do that. But in an area where you have, like driveways and things, there's so like possibilities are endless. So getting people together and bringing buyers to houses that don't exist, like the good old fashioned letter saying, we have a buyer for your house, any price, you name it, we should talk. Super simple, one sentence.
Back to the basics.
Back to the basics, always. Like that's what we do here, amongst other things.
Jen Magoon, you had a question, didn't you?
Okay, my quick question is, okay, so you had this guy in New York and he was looking, and then he changed and he said, I want to look in Palm Beach. And he said, do you sell Palm Beach? So instead of you saying, I don't, but I have someone I can refer you to, you said, yes, I do. I have a guy. And then you got the referral fee. Is that right?
No, I brokered the deal and I paid somebody else a tiny referral fee for setting up the appointments because I was never going to let go of that client. So help me God.
That's awesome.
And listen, it's Palm Beach. It's one road. It's not that hard. Try coming to the West Village and try not to get lost. Right. Like, so,
did you get your helicopter and fly out there like you did into China to broker that deal that's in your book?
I did not. This guy has his own plane, but he would not allow me to come with him because his wife is terrified of COVID. So I flew down on JetBlue. It was great, and met him there. And that's how we did it. And we did that deal in 16 hours. But you control the relationship, right? You want to be that person. Like I tell all my clients, I don't care what you want to do, how you want to do it. I want you to look at me as your executive vice president of all things real estate. Wherever you want to buy, whatever you want to do, I'm your guy. Right? You want to go to Rome? I'll figure it out. Probably not going to go to Rome with you tomorrow, so I'll probably refer that one. But there's lots of things that we could do together. You want to go buy an office? Let's do it. Right? I'll figure it out. Because that's also a way that I know that could open me up to new markets. And it's you kind of always got to get your feet wet a little bit that way.
So how many people are in your brokerage? I know you started it right in March, probably April, right?
October 1st. October 1st.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been a brokerage for 4 months and 9 days.
Oh, wow. So
not that I'm counting. But we have, I think we're 43.
43.
We're 43 agents and employees. And we're going to grow at probably an agent or two a week for now.
And so are you really involved in the hiring or any part of the operations side of it? And
yeah.
How do you pick who you want to work with?
I kind of have well, first, I will only work with people that I like, right? We have no offices. That's part of our business model, right? We have houses. So we're in a temporary house now, but we're going to announce it tomorrow, actually, that we are my new quote unquote office, the Serhant House, New York, is going to be the old Tommy Hilfiger flagship store in Soho, which is an entire building that we're taking down. And so we're going to build that out and move into it in April. So if you ever come to Soho, now you're going to see us. And so we have workstations, lounge spaces, kind of like a Soho House type thing, like a clubhouse. And all the employees and admins work there. So you have access to them and all the resources at all times, but agents are mobile. Like I don't need to give an agent a cubicle so they can internet shop. Like that just pisses me off. So, I work with agents that I like, that are incredibly hardworking. Because if they're not, they don't have to work for me. Like, please go elsewhere. I look for energy, enthusiasm, and empathy. Those are the three things. Because education, we have a whole training course and platform that is huge that I can teach anybody. sell. But if you can empathize with people and understand when they're sad and when they're happy and be there with them, and if you can wake up with enthusiasm for the day, and if you can stay energized even on the longest of days, you can be an amazing salesperson.
Your last book, you had a course that you created, a course that went along with it. Are you going to create a course with this one?
Yes.
Okay.
Why not?
Why not? I used, in my team meeting this morning, I used Map It Out. I taught them how you did your Map It Out and said, I thought that was great. And
Yeah,
it really made sense.
Good. Look, I'm glad I wrote it then.
I know.
Right.
It was awesome. There's so many great tools. You could really coach out of that book. On if someone wants to know how to be in any type of sales, that's the book to read.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been a fun ride, but we're only getting started. I've never been to Missouri, but I hear it's awesome. And so maybe one day I'll be able to come down and you can show me around.
Awesome. There's one more question really quick, and then I know you have to go. I'm sure your calendar's pretty tight, jumping from thing to thing. This is dealing in multi-millions in New York City. I'm sure you deal with a lot of egos. How do you navigate that as an agent? From Tracy DeWard.
Yeah, so there's a whole section in Big Money Energy about bullshit money energy.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the people with the egos. There's a lot of strategy that I figured out over the years, but what ego wants more than anything is to be heard, right? So you let ego cry it out like a baby. Let them cry. Let them talk a game. Do not be defensive. Just let it happen. It's going to be okay, right? And get on their side. Be right there with them. They have big egos. Pad that ego, okay? Because they have big egos because they're lacking in other places for some reason. So you want to pad that ego, make them feel like they are the best, like they are great. Pull up deals that they did. That's awesome. I've really been looking to work forward. I've been wanting to do a deal with you since you sold XYZ Cranberry Street, right? Make them feel like, wow, I am the best, right? I'm great. And then laugh all the way to the bank.
Now we know why he's been so successful right there. That's it.
Everyone in New York City has an ego. Are you kidding me? Like the brokers here are the worst. They're just the worst. So it's important to be really nice to people, right? Karma is a real thing. It comes around. So be nice, work hard, give back. Don't focus on the money. The money will come to you.
So Rima asked, can you please share your quick cold email script?
It's in the course, actually. We have all of my email templates, the way that I wrote them. I would have talked to you about anything. You just keep setting me up to pitch myself. And so I
sell it like Serhant course or Serhant.
Yeah, if you go to ryanserhant.com/course, every email template, like even an email that I sent yesterday that worked, I sent it off to the course team and they put it up there for everyone to use. Like whatever works for me, I give out to everybody that are members anyway, because I want them to do better because that helps me. And I want everyone to refer deals back and forth to each other. And that's what our agents do, like refer deals all over the place. It's pretty wild.
Valerie asked what your daily routine is. You go through that a little bit in the book as well, but
that is heavily in the book, and I do have to jump, so I'm sorry, but it's I wake up at 4 and I go to bed at around 10 or 11 Sunday through Friday. Saturday is for the baby. Yeah, and then everything that happens in between is complete and insane chaos, although somewhat organized and controlled.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate that. The book is awesome. Good luck to you with that. It's going to be a bestseller if it's not already. It probably already is, isn't it?
I don't know. Hopefully, but thank you for having me.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. Do the rest of you want to stay on here? I'm sorry, you guys. Let me see. Do any of you have any other questions about his book or anything, or do you want to come over and get one? Feel free to do that. It really is one of the best books I've read that's specific to our industry, that's really about the energy and how to really reinvent yourself. I mean, if you read who Ryan was when he started, he was cowboy boots, big belt buckle. I mean, he just decided who he wanted to be, and then he reinvented himself. And it's really good. But come over and get one from me if you'd like. We have them here in the office.
I want one. Save me one.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
We did record it. Whoever asked that. Did you record this? Would you mind? Thank you. That's great. Send me a book. Will do. You're welcome, Jenna. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.